This time we will be taking a look on how to do a simple restoration of the side. As you can see, mine has sustained a lot of damage because of constantly falling, especially on asphalt. But even if it doesn't fall, the very active striking generates enough force to make the wrapping stretch and rip over time. So even if repainting is not required, one will have to at least rewrap it sooner or later. The materials we'll need for the job will be self-vulcanizing tape or electrical tape, gloves, a piece of cloth, a diluent for the removal of grease or oil, spray paint for metal surfaces, and an object to support the side tip. The self-vulcanizing tape is this tape on the right. It's covered in this special material to prevent it from fusing with itself, because that's basically its characteristic. It fuses with itself. It's also kind of stretchy and rubbery and kind of sticky. Even though it has no glue, it feels sticky. And after wrapping it around the side, it will fuse with itself, making for a solid wrap, and with less wrinkles. You'll notice less wrinkles. The electrical tape seems to be made more of plastic. It's not as stretchy, it doesn't fuse with itself, and it actually has real glue on it, so that's how it's going to adhere to the side surface. The problem I see with this tape is that the glue may start to lose its properties if the side is exposed to higher temperatures, especially with usage during the summer. And the other problem is that it creates wrinkles if we curve the wrapping too much, as you can see. Now onto the process of restoration itself. We will begin by rewrapping the side. In order to do this, we're going to have to remove the old wrap, so let's do that first. Next, we are going to use that object that I mentioned to support the tip of the side, because we are going to rotate it. This is going to help us with the wrapping motion. Next, we are going to pick up the tape and we are going to wrap it around the base of the hilt several times. 3 or 4 should be enough. As we do this, we are also going to stretch the tape, because it will increase the grip on the side. Also note that I'm using the block of wood to help with rotating the side as I wrap the tape around it. Now it starts to get a little bit more difficult because we are going to start wrapping the entirety of the hilt, and for that we are going to have to bend the tape. I would choose a 20 degrees to 30 degrees bend, but the idea is that the amount of bending you choose will have to remain consistent because we want to give the wrapping as much uniformity as possible. This is the part of the process that will take the longest. Just be patient with it and take your time with it. Now, in order to ensure the uniformity of the wrap, here is what you have to look for. First, you have to partially overlap the wrap, while simultaneously slightly stretching the tape. If you do this, you'll notice a marked area, which is where the tape is overlapping. So, in order to maintain the uniformity of the wrap, you just need to ensure that the width of this area remains the same throughout the process. Now we get to the part where we have to wrap the tape around the prongs. Bend the tape and start to wrap around one of the shielding prongs and the main prong. In order to change direction, you're going to have to wrap once around the hilt each time that you wrap around the prongs. So it goes like this. You wrap around the prong, then you wrap around the hilt. So if you do this process, you'll be constantly changing direction. So you just have to make sure that you do this really slowly and make sure that the tape is in intimate contact with the side. Try to leave as little wrinkles as possible. Take it slowly. It takes quite a while, but if you do it slowly, you will manage to do so. You can choose to do this as many times as you want. I recommend doing about 4 times in each direction, but that's a matter of preference. Now we get to this part where we start wrapping the hilt again. I would suggest wrapping the hilt only when you make sure that the wrap is going in the opposite direction. By wrapping in the opposite direction, we are making sure that the wrap is much stronger. We want to make it crisscrossed. So now I will start to bend the tape, and I will follow the same rules as before. I will give it about 20 to 30 degrees angle, and I always make sure that the tape is overlapping over the previous wrap, and making sure that the area of overlap is always the same width. When you finally reach the base of the hilt, just give it 3 or 4 wraps more, and at the end you pull the tape as hard as you can, and it will rip the tape, and then you use your thumb to solidify the connection. Next is the part where we repaint the side. For this, you're going to put your gloves on, and you're going to grab the piece of cloth, and you're going to imbibe it in a little bit of diluent that we will use to clean the side, to remove any kind of grease from the side. Because if we don't remove the grease from the side, the paint will have a hard time sticking to it. So it's super important that we do this process. After cleaning, we're going to make sure that the diluent is dry, and then we're going to grab the paint spray and shake it around for about a minute or two to make sure that it's fluid enough. Then we're just going to apply it over the side. There is no problem of spray painting the hilt. You just have to make sure that you cover all the surface of the side. Right? It will take a little while, but rotate it around. Do outside of the prongs, inside the prongs also. Don't forget to paint the base of the hilt. Try also not to apply too much paint on one same spot. You want to make sure that the paint is homogeneous, and if you apply too much on one same spot, it will start to leak and it will start to become bulgy. Also try as much as possible not to touch the areas where you applied paint, otherwise it will remove the paint. Finally, rip a little strap of tape, wrap it around the hilt, and leave the side hanging someplace where you can leave it for 2 or 3 days.